Paterson University Television.
Welcome back to the desk. Your William Paterson Pioneers are NJAC champions, and here to break down the hardware that the Pioneers took home this week, we have Anthony, Jimmy, Steve, and Andrew, our favorite B block. Anthony, so many things happened in this tournament. We took home the championship. We got some highlights. We got some stats. Take us through it.
Steve Samory.
Excuse me?
Samory.
You call me Steve. Like, do we look alike?
It's been a long semester, guys.
Steve Samory?
You don't, but it's been a long semester. Wow. I'm sorry. But we do have some highlights, and we have some stats. We have a little bit of everything here. We're going to pick up in the third inning. 1-0 Pioneers, not for long, as Dan Carter's going to go the other way for an Oppo Taco home run. Steve, we are on the call. We still have no idea where that ball went. But we know it's a home run, and the Pioneers took a 2-0 lead. A lot of everything for the Pioneers. Firepower, pitching, defense, a little bit of it all. Later in the inning, Steve Yellen is going to step up with a runner on and 2 outs. He's got a line one over the left field wall for a 2-run dinger. Pioneers are up 4-0 over Kane. And then Matt Lawler will come, and he had a great game. I mean, let's call it, this is the final numbers. We're going to get into them later. They don't look as great as they could have been. But he pitched a very solid 7 innings of 2 runs. They came out in the 8th and kind of slowed down a little bit. You see him getting a couple of strikeouts right here. He looked great, Steve. I mean, he walked a little bit too many guys, but overall, struck out 2. Only allowed a couple hits, only allowed the 4 runs and the 2 runs up to that point. So you see him getting a couple of strikeouts right there. We pick things up here in the 6th inning. Carson Weiss is going to line a double down the left field line and into the corner. And that ends up being for extra bases. And like I said, guys, Pioneers got contributions from up and down the lineup. You know, Carson Weiss, Dylan Habib, Steve Yellen. You see Justin Gripple with a push bunt there to score a run on a safety squeeze. And that 5th run was all the Pioneers needed. They would go up, they would win 10-4 with 13 hits, 1 error, 6 left on base, and 5 extra base hits. So the Pioneers get a very nice win over Kane. They did not lose a single game in the NJAC tournament. They coast to an NJAC victory. It's party time for the Pioneers.
Yeah, let's party like it's 1999, Pioneers. Steve, you were on the call last year for the game that they lost. They lost a doubleheader to Rowan down there. You guys had to travel down there as well. The revenge tour, how sweet it was for the Pioneers. Take us through that one.
Yeah, and it was great. You know, we were down there last year getting sunburnt in the sun at Rowan.
Shout out to Steve Maloney.
Yeah, they fall 0-2 in that series, but to be there the whole time this time and watch everybody hit, runners in scoring position, getting the job done, and they finally get to see the hardware. I know Steven DiGirolamo was in the stands, and I know he was happy to see that happen, and you just see how happy this team was to finally get over that hump. They want, like Anthony said, didn't lose. We still don't know where Dan Carter's ball went, Anthony, but
right fielder
you know,
came in
yeah, he
on
did.
The home run.
But they got the win, and at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Jimmy?
I mean, our biggest key for the Pioneers was pitching and defense. The runs were always going to come. Riley Weiss pitched great throughout the tournament. Matt Lawler really shut things down in the championship game. Vinny Martin, Justin Grippo in the championship game, both had like back-to-back diving catches earlier on in that 3rd, 4th inning. Really saved some runs. Steve Yellen played solid behind the plate, catching. Tom Radigan really stepped in that shortstop role, cleaning up the middle infield. Just a great all-around defensive effort. They didn't give the game away, and that's why they blew out the teams that they did.
Andrew?
Yeah, man, these guys touched on it perfectly. Great defense all throughout the tournament, great pitching throughout the tournament, amazing swings during the tournament. I mean, you know, Yellen was able to get his back going in that game. He had 2 home runs, and, you know, the Danimal, of course, hit another home run because why wouldn't he? You know, it was a big revenge tour for these guys. They lost to Rowan last year. Really good to see them win, you know, this year. Congrats to them.
Yeah, big congrats to them. And we talked about it, and you touched on Matt Law a little, but Steve, will throw this one to you. He stepped up big lefty, stepped up big. Take us through that game that he had. Take us through his start throughout the tournament as well.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at his numbers from the tournament. Here's Samory, 2 games, 11 innings pitched, a 3.27 ERA, 3 strikeouts and 4 walks. And it got down to a point in this tournament where you started to wonder who was going to be the 3rd guy for the Pioneers. Matt Lawler, the only left-hander coming out of the pen for the Pioneers this season. They throw him, they tell him, go get the job done. He does, and you look at the numbers right there that don't do him justice.
Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, Steve, you said it yourself. It doesn't do him justice at all. He pitched 7 innings, 2 runs. He got brought back out for the 8th. They felt confident in him. He allowed a hit and then a home run. So that kind of came back to bite him. That's why he allowed 4 runs that game. But like you said, Steve, only lefty out of the pen. You want to save him for those lefties, but at the same time, he made it work as a starter this year, and that's a big congrats to him.
Andrew?
Yeah, no, Lawler had a great season, you know, in the regular season, great postseason. I mean, we saw him, you know, he pitched 4 innings in the first game against Kane in the NJAC tournament. He allowed 2 hits, no runs in that one. Talked about the 7 innings he went against Kane in the final, and he had a great season. He got a great ending to his season. So,
Jimmy, quickly.
I'm going to give myself some flowers. My X factor from last week, Matt Lawler really balled out in the championship game. Great managing by Coach Lauderhan. Brought him in against Kane in that first game. Amazing 4 innings in relief of Riley Weiss. You start him again against Kane, gives you 7 solid innings of work, gives your offense a chance to succeed, and that's why they're champions.
Jimmy, keeping it with you, and another big reason why I think we're champions is because our dominating offense. We talked about it all throughout the spring on this block that you guys they're gonna have to go through 1 through 9. And Jimmy, we're gonna start with you. Who do you think the most impressive offensive player was throughout this tournament?
Well, I'm gonna highlight in on Dylan Habib, DH for the Pioneers. Him and Yellen alternated at catching. At bats during the tournament, 18, 9 hits. That's half. That's pretty freaking good. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. Both those home runs came against Montclair State. Absolute tanks. Really helped them pull away in that one. And he worked the walk, had some clutch hits to go opposite way, all into the field. Really just a nice presence in the middle of that lineup.
Andrew?
I'm going to go with Carson Weiss, a senior first baseman. He had a great job in the tournament. 19 at-bats, 7 hits, 2 home runs, 1 in the first game, 1 in the second. 4 ribbies and 4 extra base hits. He went 2 for 4 with 2 runs and a double in the championship game. He made some great plays with his glove all throughout the tournament. One of the best first basemen in the NJAC, and he proved it all season long. Continued to do it throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, the diving catch he had here, the last home game we had, where he called off. I forget who was pitching. Pardon me, but that was an amazing catch. Anthony.
Yeah, I'm going to give Steve Yellen some love here because Dan Carter wins NJAC Player of the Year, and I feel like Steve Yellen kind of got overshadowed a little bit at times. But Steve Yellen is really, really good. 9 for 19, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 2 home runs in that championship game. People say, it doesn't matter what you do in the regular season, you got to show up in the postseason. Well, Steve Yellen showed up in the postseason. 2 home runs in that championship game, led the Pioneers to a win. He's my guy.
Steve, close us out.
You talk about showing up in the postseason. Dan Carter did just that. 20 at-bats, 10 hits, 4 home runs. He hit 3 of those home runs against Ramapo and 1 in the finals, and 12 RBIs and 5 runs. NJAC Player of the Year, he proved it during this tournament.
Gentlemen, I mean, those are great picks, all great picks, and I think I would just shout out our whole offense from 1 through 9. Everybody came off. We saw push bunts, we saw sac flies, we saw everything lead to the Pioneers getting this championship. So we had a big season, won the championship, obviously. Andrew, we'll go to you. What do you think the biggest win this year was for the Pioneers?
Well, you were just talking about offense. Let me give you offense. 28-7 over TCNJ back in April. We were on the call, me and Samory. That was a slaughter at Jeff Albies. I mean, we went down 5-0 in the top of the first. I told you, I said, listen, this is going to be a slow comeback. We proceeded to then score 7 runs and then eventually 27 unanswered runs. This is a game, 10-run 5th inning. We saw 2 grand slams,
and
one by
inning.
Justin Grippo, 1 by Dan Carter. 1 inning, 2 grand slams. I know none of you have ever seen that before, and we probably never will. It was a fun game to call. We had a blast. It was domination. That was my favorite game of the year.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm going to pick the game that clinched their ticket to the NJAC tournament against Ramapo College. Dan Carter, walk-off grand slam, was on the call for that with Calvin Ritchie. An awesome game to be at. It punched the ticket, and it punched the ticket in a fun way.
Jimmy?
I'm going to take that first tournament game against Kane. This is a game, they were down 4-0 in the first inning. They come back 5 unanswered runs. They close the door in a double elimination tournament. This proved vital, so they didn't get that first game, that first loss, provided momentum. They really battled. Dylan Habib, the performance by him in this game and in Montclair led him to be Division III National Team of the Week honors. Very nice.
Anthony, close out for the block.
Samory, anytime the Pioneers beat Montclair State in the playoffs, we have to talk about it. They beat Montclair State in the first game away from Jeff Albies Field. As you know, they played the first game at Jeff Albies Field. Then they go to Kane to play the next 3. That's the first game away from Jeff Albies Field. You might say, oh, there's a little bit of adjustment there, new ballpark, how are they going to react? They did fine. As you said, Jimmy, Dylan Habib, 2 home runs. Pioneers get the easy victory. It led to them winning the tournament.
I'd be remiss not to take the championship winning game. I don't know about y'all. I'm not going to get my little thing to pop up, but I'll take the championship winning one. But yet again, we would like to congratulate the Pioneers on a great season capped off by an NJAC tournament championship win. And we wish the best of those who are not returning next year and the ones who will return next year. And for those graduating, you guys had a great Pioneer career and you guys capped it off in the right way. Finally, we would like to wish them luck for regionals. Now, from Jeff Albies, the Pioneers Softball Park, we will recap the softball season for our Pioneers only here on WPTV.